say they are. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call the meeting of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District's Board of Trustees to order for September 2nd, 2021. Ask the Secretary, please call the roll.
Mayor DeGeeter present. Mayor Bocci?
Present.
Ms. Dumas?
Here.
Mr. Joyce?
Here.
Mayor Alai?
Here.
President Brown?
Here.
Mr. Sewell?
Here.
We have quorum.
Thank you. I now ask for the approval of the minutes from our August 19th, 2021 meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Bocci,
Second.
second by Ms. Dumas. Question on the motion? There are no questions. The minutes will stand approved as they are printed. Now ask the CEO if anyone has signed up to speak during the public session portion of our agenda on a specific agenda topic.
They have not, Mr. President.
Thank you. Now we will have your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Beginning with the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, we have one active case among district employees. So this brings us to 95 confirmed positive cases since the beginning of the pandemic and includes 94 employees who are recovered and have returned to work. We have no employees with COVID-like symptoms awaiting their test results, and we have one employee who is remaining at home because a member of their household has tested positive. So I'm happy to announce that we are a 2021 North Coast 99 Award winner. North Coast 99, as I'm sure you know, is an annual recognition program that honors 99 Northeast Ohio workplaces for top talent. This is a recognition of how well our organization compares to other Northeast Ohio workplaces in terms of attracting, developing, and retaining top performers. Organizations are evaluated on responses to questions about policies and practices for attracting and retaining folks, as well as ratings from our employees. So I just want to recognize everyone who's involved with this, managers, employees, supervisors, and Elizabeth Brooks and her HR team. So it's a great award. So thanks to them.
Congratulations.
And I'll keep going because there's many awards for me to talk about. So in addition, we have been awarded the 26th Annual Achievement of Excellence in Procurement for 2021 from the National Procurement Institute. This award is earned by public and nonprofit agencies that demonstrate a commitment to procurement excellence. We're the only agency in the state and the only special district to receive the award, and we've won this every year since 2015, with the exception, Jackie Williams, of 2017, which I don't understand what happened there. So congratulations to Ken and Jackie and the whole team for that award. And then finally on the awards front, as Ken updated our audit committee this morning, we also received the Auditor of State Award with distinction. The Auditor's Office presents the award to local governments and school districts upon completion of a financial audit. And entities receive the award when they meet criteria for a clean audit, including a report that does not contain findings for recovery, material citations, material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or findings or questioned costs. So we had none of those, and obviously we're very proud to receive this award in recognition of our strong financial policies and practices. And in the last 5 years, we've received this award 2016, 2017, 2019, and 2020. So that is a huge accomplishment. So I'll pause with those 3 awards, President Brown, just to recognize the staff. Jackie Williams is here. Melinda Marcoux is here from Ken's finance team.
Very good.
Great, outstanding work. Congratulations.
Thank you. And then I did want to provide an update on federal and state funding. So Mike, if you could bring up those slides. So this is an interim update I just want to give. This is kind of a half an update on the Ohio Water and Wastewater Infrastructure Grant Program. As I'm sure you're all familiar, this is the $250 million that's available statewide from the American Rescue Plan Act. It's a process that includes both county and state rankings, so these processes are kind of running in a parallel track. So we submitted 6 applications to Cuyahoga County Engineer and to the state for their consideration. The county released their list of 10 priority projects, and we're very pleased that the Brookside Culvert Repair, which is a $12 million project, has been included on the county's list. So this now goes to the Ohio Department of Development and Ohio EPA for their selection statewide, but the county's list provides additional points to being selected. So Mike, if you go to the next slide, You'll see these are the 10 priority projects that the Cuyahoga County engineer has sent to the state level, and all of these are great projects for our member communities. So we're on there, as are our members, in terms of being selected, and there's a very strong crossover between this list and our member community infrastructure program, so it's great coordination. And then finally, President Brown, I did want to revisit your question from our last meeting on the benefits of the newly completed Doane Valley Tunnel. So Carrie Buxton and Bob Auber presented at our last board meeting, the completed Doane Valley Tunnel in conjunction with the other upstream improvements is anticipated to prevent 360 million gallons of combined sewage annually from entering Doane Brook. And you had asked what this meant to the brook. And I just wanted to expand on that because it's obviously such a big deal and such a big improvement. So obviously there is the immediate improvement in water quality with the decrease of sewage going to Doane Brook. So there's the bacteriological and the pathogen loading that is now removed from the brook during wet weather. And we have documented this improvement with previous projects, including the Mill Creek Tunnel. So I'll just talk about Mill Creek for just a second, because that project was completed in 2012. It keeps 500 million gallons of CSO annually out of Mill Creek. And following completion of the tunnel, Frank Greenland's folks studied the health of the fish and macroinvertebrate communities in Mill Creek, and they have improved to the point of meeting Ohio EPA biological water quality criteria. So that is a direct connection between the removal of CSO and the improvement in water quality in Mill Creek. As with Mill Creek, Doane Brook has a range of problems, and I think we talked about that at the last meeting, including channelization, long culverted sections, high impervious area throughout the watershed, and physical barriers like Horseshoe Lake Dam, which we'll talk about later in the meeting. So the removal of the 360 million gallons of CSO is a big part of the improvement, but a lot of work remains. Future projects will include local infrastructure improvements, those that we see through the MCIP, stream restoration, and habitat improvements. So I did want to provide that better answer because we're peeling the onion of water quality impacts. The CSO is a huge part. So that's my report, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that update. Helps give me some perspective on what we should be looking for, what in particular we might see or experience as a result of the kind of the seasonality of what happens with not just the storm events, but what happens with the overflow kind of after those storm events, and has had a history of getting a little ripe on some summer days, so
yes.
It should help that quite a bit. So, all right, thank you.
Thank you. That's it.
Okay.
All done. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's go to our action items. All right, let's start with authorization to advertise. All right, this is authorization to publish notice calling for bids in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 6119.104, two-year requirement contract for sodium hypochlorite solution at all wastewater treatment plants with an anticipated expenditure of $1,160,000.
Move to adopt 27021.
Motion by Mr. Sulik.
Second.
Second by Mayor Lai. Question? No question. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution number 270-21.
Thank you. Let's go to authorization to issue request for proposals. This is request for authorization to issue an RFP in accordance with Ohio Revised Code, Chapter 6119 for one-year maintenance services and support contract with an authorized Honeywell certified partner for the district's access control and video surveillance security systems, hardware and software at GJM EMSC and all wastewater treatment plants.
So moved.
Motion by Mayor Bocci.
Second.
Second by Mr. Joyce. Question? There's no question. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution number 271-21.
Thank you. Let's go to authorization to purchase. This is a request for authorization to purchase Internet Access Service for GJM, EMSC, and all wastewater treatment plants from AT&T Corporation for a 3-year term beginning September 2021, an amount not to exceed $128,203.20.
Move to adopt 272-21.
Motion by Mr. Sulik.
Second.
Second by Ms. Dumas. Question? No question. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution number 272-21.
All right, let's go to authorization to enter into agreement. This is authorization to enter into an agreement, agreements with member communities to fund the respective 18-member community infrastructure program projects presented for the 2022 round of funding, and a total amount not to exceed $15 million.
Move to adopt Resolution 273-21.
Motion by Mayor Alari.
Second.
Second by Mayor Bocci. Question? Question. This is,
Need a roll call on this.
yeah, I got it. This is going to be for the next round for projects, the $15 million that we would traditionally set aside for this purpose?
These are for the 22. These are 2022 awards. 15 million was authorized, in the rate study. So we are fulfilling 15 million. A lot of them are design and construction. Some are design only to get communities prepped and ready to go for that construction phase that would follow.
Okay.
We've got a couple new players. We can show you the couple slides. These are the design and construction awards, different types of projects, SSO controls, septic removals, other types of sewer enhancements. Keep going. These are the design and construction. They total almost 14 million in awards. The next slide is just design only. Warrensville Heights is a new player. This is a design only loan. Grant. And subsequently, after their design, they'd be teed up potentially to receive the construction funding. So these are design only awards in right around $1 million. Spatially, this is what it looks like. A nice mix across the service area. So this is really what we wanted to have happen, to get a lot of projects all over the place. So this is our 2022 awards.
Okay. Questions? Now I'm going to ask for a roll call, please.
Mayor Bocci.
Yes.
Ms. Dumas.
Abstain.
Mr. Joyce.
Yes.
Mayor Alai.
Yes.
President Brown.
Abstain?
Mr. Sulik.
Yes.
Mayor DeGeeter abstain. Motion passes.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's do that. Let's go authorization to enter into contract. Let's start with request for authorization to enter into a 2-year requirement contract for Ohio Boat Transfer Company for grit and screenings removal services at all wastewater treatment plants in an amount not to exceed $967,791.16. Request for authorization to enter into a 5-year print management services contract with Meritech through the OMNIA Partners Cooperative Purchasing Program to provide printing services, multifunctional copier leases, equipment maintenance and repairs, and supplies necessary to support business functions at all district facilities in an amount not to exceed $594,925.80. Request for authorization to enter into a construction contract with SET Inc. for Chippewa Creek Bank stabilization at Route 21 and Brecksville project in an amount not to exceed $1,439,365. And then finally, the request for authorization to enter into a 1-year requirement contract with Polydyne Inc. for delivery of up to 719,000 pounds of liquid emulsion polymer solution to all wastewater treatment plants, and including 2 1-year district options to renew the contract in an amount not to exceed $2,046,274 in year 1.
Move to adopt 274 through 277-21.
Motion by Mr. Joyce, second by Ms. Dumas. Is there a question? If there are no questions, without objection, they're approved.
Resolutions 274 through 277-21.
All right, thank you. Let's go authorization to amend agreement. This is authorization to amend agreement number 21001-201 with Black Line Safety Corp. For the portable gas meter replacement and implementation project by extending the term of agreement for an additional one-year period and increasing the agreement amount by $250,000, thereby bringing the total agreement amount not to exceed $600,000.
Move to adopt 27821.
Motion by Mr. Sulik.
Second.
I'll take Ms. Dumas for a second. Question? No question, and without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 278-21.
All right. Let's go authorization to assign agreement. This is authorization to assign agreement number 1706785 with CH2M Hill Engineers, Inc. to Jacobs Engineering Group, Inc. for engineering professional services in support of the Regional Stormwater Management Program Stormwater Construction Plan under the Stormwater General Engineering Services 2 agreement due to a company acquisition, with all current terms and conditions of the agreement to remain unchanged under the assignment.
Move to adopt 279-21.
Motion by Ms. Dumas.
Second.
Second by Mayor Bocci. Is there a question? There's no question. Without objection, it's approved.
Resolution 279-21.
Okay, let's see. All right, let's go property-related transactions. Let's start with authorization to acquire one permanent sewer easement, one temporary easement. That property known as permanent parcel number 0093201, located at 4160 Jennings Road in the city of Cleveland, owned by Anatoly Stepanovich Dzhingan. Okay, got me that time. Necessary for the construction and maintenance of Pearl Road and Jennings Road storage tanks project, and total consideration of $493. Also, request for authorization to acquire one permanent stormwater easement at the property known as permanent parcel number 581-31005, located at 8663 Broadview Road in the city of Broadview Heights, owned by Mary T. Pinchak. Necessary for construction and maintenance of Chippewa Creek stream stabilization near Broadview Road project, total consideration of $5,000. And then finally, request for authorization to acquire three parcels in fee simple known as permanent parcel numbers 281-24001, 281-24002, and 281-24003, located at 26855 Bagley Road in the city of Olmsted Falls, owned by Donald F. Bartz, successor trustee of Carl F. Bartz Jr., revocable trust under declaration of trust dated March 29, 1995, necessary for the construction and maintenance of Bagley Road project. To enter into an assignment and assumption agreement with the Western Reserve Land Conservancy, and to allow for the entirety of the payment to be dispersed to Ohio Real Title Agency, LLC, with total consideration of $550,000 plus closing costs.
Move for adoptions of resolutions 280 through 283-21.
Motion by Mayor Alai,
Second.
second by Mayor Bocci. Question on the motion? No question? Without objection, they're approved.
Resolutions 280 through 282-21.
All right. I think we got one more here, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we got authorization to pay dues. This is authorization to renew the district's Water Research Foundation, WRF subscription for 2021 through 2022 in an amount of $111,201.20.
Move to adopt 28321.
Motion by Mr. Sulik,
Second.
second by Mr. Joyce. Is there a question? No question, then without objection, it's approved.
Resolutions 283-21.
Very good. That does complete our current list of action items, correct? Okay. Yeah, we'll be back. All right, so let's move to our information items. We have the Regional Stormwater Program.
Okay, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
I'm going to give an update on the Regional Stormwater Management Program, recent activities. I'm going to cover a number of different areas. I'll start with the SWIM group, Stormwater Inspection and Maintenance. Our SWIM group is out in the field constantly, looking for problems and trying to avert problems before storms occur. These are just two examples of some of the things we find out in the field: failing culverts, gross erosion that threatens infrastructure. We work with owners on some of this, and other times it's the district enacting a project in partnership with the owners to deal with these issues, but we see these really across the entire service area. I haven't shown this for a while, but this just gives us a summary of the first half of the year where maintenance projects have occurred across the regional system. Most of those maintenance projects are the removal of woody timber, debris, and culverts, sometimes a little bit of sediment. To date, about 124 projects. Now, this year is a little, we're down a little bit. And although it's rained, we have not seen the pervasive, huge rains we saw last year across the entire service area. We've seen little swaths. I know certain communities have been hit pretty hard a couple times. The numbers are down a little bit, but not significantly.
Okay.
In the technical support area, the last master plan, the Chagrin River and Lake Erie Tributary master plan, is nearing completion. All the field work has been performed, modeling, everything. Report writing is occurring. We're starting to see the draft reports. So this project will be finalized. I don't have a number for you in terms of dollar need, but it's going to be significant. It will be likely more than the Cuyahoga River South and Rocky River, probably a little bit less than Cuyahoga River North. So we will probably add $300-400 million in terms of project need. So in terms of the work on that last master plan, all the data collection's done, the model's done. We've identified problem areas, evaluated alternatives, recommended solutions. It's really now in the report writing mode, and we're using the consultant to continue to manage the models for all of the master planning areas for a period of time, and then we're going to take control of that function. Another thing that's happening in conjunction, this is the next step from master planning. Sometimes we go to detailed design of specific projects. Other times we go into advanced planning. We have one contract today that takes rather large, in this case is an example of Big Creek, $36 million project. So there's a lot more we need in terms of technical details to better understand the project, how construction would occur, and how we might be able to phase construction to start getting work out. You will be soon seeing a second request for advanced planning now that we've got all of the master plans done. These are very big project recommendations in certain areas, so we've got to start finding ways to phase them appropriately as we move forward.
Does the phasing also kind of indicate where based on the phasing we can have the most impact initially in the project?
We're always hoping for that. It's twofold. We want impact. We also want cash flow, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So there are ways to phase a project. We don't have $36 million to do that project in one budget year. We have about 20 million, 2021 for construction, so we're going to have to phase. Now, a lot of these big projects do take time. So we're trying to do the right things to make incremental steps. You know, we've talked about Doane Brook was an example. Cleaning the culvert took us from a 2-year to a 10-year storm. So when we look at phasing, we're looking at those opportunities.
Okay.
In terms of acquisition, two things on acquisition. First, I'm amazed it's happening as well as it is, but it has clearly been impacted recently because of the COVID situation, and we do have problems at times obtaining easements and acquiring properties, and it's a little bit cyclical from time to time. But we're doing pretty well this year. We're acquiring projects. We had one on today's board agenda. So the acquisition is really critical for us to execute good projects going forward. And virtually every project has some type of need, either a permanent temporary easement or an acquisition. But I really credit the folks working on that. It's actually going very well. In the design and construction area, I wanted to talk about cash flow, have a discussion about cash flow. This just gives you an idea. Blue is budget, red actual, since the inception of the program in earnest in 2016. And what occurred over time is we were ramping up very nicely to 2019. And in fact, there was a fear that we might exceed our budget in 2019, and we were asked to be careful, and I wouldn't say slow down, but be careful, okay? 2020 was the COVID, the initiation of the COVID issue. We were concerned about revenue. We parsed out, I thought it was $6 million from the budget. It was just $6 million cut immediately because we were concerned about revenue collection and COVID. So that takes time to recover from that. This year is about the same in terms of our projection at the end of the year. And I'm going to talk about some of those reasons why and some of the corrective measures we want to take to try and maintain cash flow fairly consistently. These are the major factors that impact cash flow. Easements and acquisitions are really fundamental to almost every project. We lose one permanent easement. There are cases that happen this year. We lose $1 million in cash flow for the year. We can't acquire the property. Same thing can happen. So despite our good work, there are situations where easements and acquisitions are going to bite us, quite honestly, and it will cause a delay in the project. Permits are a second thing. COVID caused some permit-related issues for us and our member communities, quite honestly. Something like a bat survey. You need to do bat surveys before you start constructing projects in stream beds with trees. No go in 2020, no bat surveys. So that's an instant delay in your design and then construction program, and it caused us some problems. Now, we're past that now, which is good. There were other issues related to permits from ODNR, for instance, delays that caused delays on community-run projects that we're contributing to. So it's an issue. Hopefully, as COVID passes, that permit delay issue will pass. We've been very good with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers on obtaining those permits, so that's good news. But it was a factor. And the large projects, taking these large projects and scheduling them appropriately to meet about a $20 to $21 million annual construction is challenging. So we need to do a little bit better on that. Some of the things that we want to do to stabilize spending. First, we need, now that we've got all the master plans done, we're going to authorize a second advanced planning contract. We need to effectively look for more opportunities to let projects quicker, run phases. We're hopeful that we can do identify those types of projects that are good projects, but have minimal easement and acquisition needs. Now that's challenging. I will tell you that's challenging, but essentially we want to start over designing projects to be able to slip projects in to increase that cash flow for a given year. We want to begin, and I kind of said the second bullet, property control is an important thing. So if we don't feel if there's many easements, a lot of acquisition needs, that project might need to be delayed a little bit in lieu of another project. We're going to trend the impact of delays. What is really impacting us? I've talked about easements and permits, acquisitions. We need to do a better job of tracking that and then looking for corrective measures to kind of overcome that. And then today was a good example. The Olmsted Falls purchase is a longer-term strategy for property acquisition. That's a very big problem area in Olmsted Township. That property was essential to doing a great project down the road. We're going to look at the rest of we needed that land, and today we got it. So in advanced planning, we're going to look at the rest of the project and how can we stage it.
Ms. Stillman has a question.
I wondered, on your comment about the loss of an easement, the slide before this, that the loss of an easement is a loss of $1 million. Can you explain that a little more?
We had a problem, I'm not going to name communities, but we had a property owner in a project, about a $2.5 million project, that we have struggled to get a permanent and temporary easement on. We struggled. And we were almost there several times and then we weren't. Now we've gotten that easement, so we're ready to go. We thought the easement discussion was over. But it wasn't over. So in the cash flow for this year, we thought we'd be the project would have been bid and we'd be turning dirt, which is where really the cash flow starts. Couldn't do it. So we had that thing scheduled earlier for start. Didn't happen. So it's delayed a year. So it's $2.5 million project. You're looking at $500,000 to $1 million of lost cost for this year. Now, that cost transfers to next year. So in the next slide, we'll show that.
In general, deferral of a capital project for a year has, a 10 to 15% increase for moving into another year, from one year to the next.
Increase in project costs, right?
Yes.
For escalation?
Yes.
Well, it's funny. I think you're going to see escalation eventually, to be honest with you, but we've been in a good bid environment. It's still, we just bid a project and awarded it today. It was pretty competitive. But it can cause escalation issues, even property, right?
Right.
The property market in and of itself can escalate on you. So delays can cost us money. It's true.
Ms. Stillman?
Okay? This is our early insight into how things are now going to pan out. We've had delays in construction. Now, today we had an authorization to bid a project out. You're going to see some more. These delays are now coming to the bid phase, which is good. So we are projecting the increase in cash flow in the design and construction area. This is construction spending as we move into 2022 and then 23. Two things are happening. We're catching up with the delays. We have other projects in design that will be ready to award. And then we have several very large projects. One being contemplated, and the West Creek job is a $16 million job. Now, we received some funding for that, grant funding. But those projects will be bid out next year. So we do see a very nice escalation in construction spending, similar to what we saw in 17, 18, 19. So we're hopeful that we'll get over that hump and then seek to implement those suggestions to stabilize the spending going forward. So in the design, really quick, just a couple examples. There are some new players now. This is North Randall, Bear Creek, where a design is being initiated. We are estimating going to construction next year. It's about $1 million project, 1.1. No land acquisition, still a bunch of easements on parcels, but this is a culverted stretch. We might seek to daylight some of that stretch. There are some significant culvert issues that are causing constriction, so that's what this job is about. Mill Creek, we inspected culverted streams in the stormwater service area. So what you're going to start seeing is packages of projects to address those culvert issues. And this Mill Creek project is the first one. In terms of construction, just a couple quick before and afters. We've talked about the Ridge Road situation, that stretch of Big Creek along this area. We've moved the stream, you can see the stream's right on top of Ridge, threatening that roadway. We've moved it away. And this was after some pretty intensive easement and acquisition discussions, but we were finally successful. So that project is complete. Same thing with Pepper Loose. You can see the before to the left. The after is much nicer. There was property acquisition here, and we've moved the stream again. So another successful project. I want to talk about how this program morphs a little bit to involve member communities in local stormwater issues. This is an example in Brook Park. The Kalita Ditch was constructed. It's a long culverted stretch, and this is the general area. Highly impervious section, common trench sewers, no stormwater control measures, a mess. And this is kind of how this area developed. This is pretty similar to many areas across Northeast Ohio, right? 51, a lot of open space, got filled up by 79, right? And I talked to you before about the lack of stormwater regulations before really about 1980. And that's what you've got here, a highly impervious area with no stormwater controls. What we're doing is taking, and we've worked with the city, they requested that we help them understand the Kalita Ditch local problems. And so George Remus is our manager of strategic support. He's actually working with the community, and we are extending our regional models to get much more finer at the local level. So that means you're looking at more pipes, smaller drainage areas to try and figure out what can we do to help that community out. So this is what it looks like visually. To the left is our stormwater model in the yellow. We modeled the bigger drainage areas. To solve a lot of these local problems, we've got to get much finer. So we want to work and engage with the communities. They have community cost share money to do this type of stuff. So we're going to continue to talk to communities about this opportunity going forward. And in the environmental monitoring area, I first want to have Justin Tellep stand up. This is Justin Tellep from WQIS. Justin came up with this idea, and I really wanted to highlight this today. It's a project to move fish, translocate fish from one area into the Plum Creek drainage area. And Plum Creek is a trib to the Rocky River. It was a mess back in the day. A lot of small little treatment plants, so water quality-wise, very poor, which stressed the aquatic community. Our Southwest Interceptor took a lot of those treatment plants offline. It takes time for a response, but the stream has responded well aquatically with the fish and bug. Well, the bug community, the water quality was supportive of a community, but this Plum Creek has impediments, waterfalls and different things. So the study was, can we take fish from, in this case, the Rocky River drainage area, and move them into this location? The chemistry suggests that it should be supportive of that fish population. Let's see what happens if we reintroduce. So that's what this study's about. We partnered with a number of different entities, and there was a lot of great support, and I think this was a great learning opportunity for all. Ohio Division of Wildlife, EPA, Metro Parks, and OSU were involved in helping us with staging this translocation effort. So this is what we're doing, collecting. These are minnows for the most part. These are minnows, but fish that would be representative of these types of streams. They are collected, they are tagged, and the tagging is an injection of dye so that you can track them down the road. And then the tag fish are released. So this is, you can see the tag fish to the left. That dye has a streaky color, orange, I guess that is. So these fish, so we're going to go back yearly to continue to look at the situation and did they reproduce? Have they recolonized? Was it a success? Was it not? So this is a little bit different in terms of what we do with stormwater management. I thought this was a really great effort. Justin came up with this, so I applaud him for that. Last thing, community cost share. Lots of numbers. The balance is almost 32 million. A number of that 32 million, almost 7 is in executed project agreements. Another 3 in agreements that are now in progress. And another 9, in excess of 9, are tied up in what we call the allocation agreements, where communities can use cost share to fund larger projects over multiple years. So what's not obligated currently in some form or fashion is about 12.5 million. And we continue to work with communities to try and eat into that total. But there has been success. We saw the same dip in 20 for a number of reasons. I can't cite all of them, but we had a dip in the invoices that came in that were paid out. We're not done with this year. I do expect a slight uptick, and hopefully that cost share arrangement continues to ramp up like it was ahead of the COVID situation. And with that, I'll take any questions you have.
Right. Great report. Appreciate the presentation of information. We've been at this for a little while now. And I would think that at the onset, it took us a while to kind of get up to speed in both the assessment and then getting some of the design work done. As you kind of got more projects, I'll say, potentially on the shelf, does that impact funding level or our need to review funding level? Because I know it's about $20 million, and you said now because of the size of some of these projects, we're looking at phasing over some period of time or years. So I'm just suggesting that maybe at some point we kind of need to understand where we are in terms of kind of the whole strategy around stormwater, programming, design, assessment, and funding of projects. It might be something we might want to have to take a look at in the near term, particularly with the fact that, so many of these projects that you put up here are things that we know have been problems for, 15, 20, 30 years, and we're getting to them. But for the most part, folks are either having erosion problems or, they got storm flooding problems. And they've lived with these things for years, and so
Right.
I'm just suggesting at some point we might want to kind of take a look at kind of what the big picture looks like now. We knew what it would look like then, but so.
Well, and we are doing things, and we should have that discussion down the road. We really, in the onset of the stormwater program, wanted to get these master plans out and complete, to really set the playing field for the long-term construction program. And we have been able to do that. 5-year period, done.
Exactly.
And so we're done. Now we have that enormous sum of money, right? So I think you will see, I use the term 20. That's gonna go up and down depending on, how you did in the previous year. And sometimes we will budget more than 20 in construction to start biting in to some of the reserve. And sometimes we're gonna get slowed down. But we're already looking at that. The professional service side of things will decline. Those master plans were,
Expensive.
that was a big investment. So less professional service means more contractual service for construction. So I do expect to see more money, and we're going to try and shunt more money. And the rate study itself provided additional revenue that we can also use to advance construction. And we're always looking for grant opportunities. We were lucky with the AOC funding for West Creek. We've got to keep doing that. These projects are not small as we go forward, so anything we can get,
Well,
we've got to look for.
that's a great point to the extent that we've got master plans and, shelf-ready projects at the federal level, the ability to apply for or continue to advocate for a slice of money specific for these concerns. These are national concerns that we're hearing about flooding everywhere, obviously.
Right.
I just think that as we're moving forward, there are a number of ways that we're already prepared to approach this. So the opportunity for us to not only self-fund, but, fund different ways is an opportunity to get some of these projects literally in the ground quicker, so.
Well, this sewer district is well-positioned, both on the sanitary wastewater side with all the SSES activities and on regional stormwater master planning. We are as well-positioned as anyone in the nation. And we are quite cognizant of infrastructure bills, other bills that are floating around that center around either wastewater or stormwater. So we were well-positioned in the late 70s to reap the benefits of construction grant funding because we were ready, and we're ready again. So we're going to continue to look and mine for additional resources wherever they might be.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? All right, thank you. Let's move to open session. Anything for the good of the order? Not public session. Anybody, Madam CEO, sign up to speak during the public session portion of our agenda on any subject matter?
They have not, Mr. President.
All right, then I believe we have several matters for executive session.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22G3 and G6, I move to enter into executive session, 1, to consult with district legal counsel concerning disputes involving the district that are subject to imminent court action, and number 2, to discuss details relative to the district security agreements and emergency response protocols, the disclosure of which would reasonably be expected to jeopardize the district's security, sir.
All right, I asked for a roll call then.
Ms. Dumas?
Yes.
Mr. Joyce?
Yes.
Mayor Lai?
Yes.
President Brown?
Yes.
Mr. Sulik?
Yes.
Mayor DeGeeter, yes.
Second.
Mayor Bocci?
Yes.
Second.
Okay.
Out there.
That was Mr. Sulik. You didn't hear?
I did not. Sorry.
All right, let's go to executive session. It is on record. It's not that. Doesn't have us on, all right. So we have items for action coming out of executive session. We have resolution number 28421, authorization to enter into a stormwater project cooperation agreement with the City of Shaker Heights to contribute district regional stormwater management program funding towards design and construction costs for the city's emergency partial breach of Horseshoe Lake Dam under the city's Doane Brook Restoration near Horseshoe Lake Park project in an amount not to exceed $200,000. Also, request for authorization to issue an RFP in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Chapter 153 for pre-design services for Doane Brook Restoration near Horseshoe Lake Park project. And then finally, a request for authorization to issue an RFP in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Chapter 6119 for Security Project Initiative Project Number 458. It's a pleasure of the body.
Move to adopt 284 through 28621.
Motion by Mr. Sulik,
Second.
second by Mr. Joyce. Are there any questions? No questions? All right, then without objection, they are all approved.
Resolutions 284 through 286-21.
Thank you. That does complete our action items again. Anything else for the good of the order? If there's not, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion, Mr. President.
Motion to adjourn by Mayor Bocci.
Second.
I always do it.
So sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Second by Mayor Alai. We have a.
The last time it was so quiet with Ron, I wanted to make sure we heard.
Okay. Without objection, we're adjourned. Thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your day.